not for me to say. I'm not going to get involved. As we go into our game, this is what I talk about. Top right-hand side, our pink Protoss player is Zest. And to the bottom left, our blue Zerg is soO. So we're here back on Neo Tokyo Turbo Cruise 84. And, yeah, this is going to be map number 1 of this best of 7. The winner of this series will end up playing against Rogue, of course, here tonight in the best of 9 finals. And, yeah, let's set up into this and see what's going to be happening. Woody's like, I'm out, too weird for me? No, it's just a stupid argument. In what world is a hot dog a sandwich? The hot dog is the overall presence of the hot dog in a bun. Like, that's a hot dog. Like, it's not a sandwich. I've had this argument before, and I know when I googled it, it said it's a sandwich, and I was so annoyed, and so I'm just not getting into it again. Like, I've been through this part of my life where I've had this debate, okay? I've just been through this part of my life, and I'm done. I'm not going back. I'm happy with where I am now. You know, I feel like I've got a good stream. I'm fairly successful in what I do. I don't need to have this discussion in my life any longer. In all seriousness, though, going from Rogue versus Hero to Zest versus soO, I really feel like we could see a bit of a switch up in playstyles, because Zest obviously loves these styles where he goes for the Archon openings and stuff like that. He definitely isn't afraid to change it up too much, but he definitely will stay away, I think, from those kind of more all-in build orders that we saw out of Hero. Whereas soO is also, compared to Rogue, I feel not going to play as aggressively all the time. I mean, already he doesn't try and 12 pool here on Neo Tokyo. So in general, I think soO here and Zest should show us a bit of a different series compared to what we just saw, which is pretty cool. And I think it's one of the things we've seen throughout the day. The series and the PvZs have changed quite a lot as different players have been participating. Now, Zest was on fire earlier. 3-0 against Solar, and he didn't even bat an eye. Like, at no point in that series against Solar did it look as though he was not going to completely stomp it. I guess in the third game it was a little closer, but it still felt like Zest was in control of the game for the most part, had pretty much things under control. The thing he had the most issues with was Lurkers, so Lurkers definitely were the biggest problem for him so far. We'll see if that's going to continue again, as we see the Adept just going to burst out here. The Overlord heading forwards, and this Adept just going to shade through down to the bottom left-hand side. Stargate coming up in the main is just passing that halfway point at the moment. Going to be completing pretty shortly. And again, the link speed coming up here from soO. So again, link speed going. A couple of slow zones here, of course, on this map. The inhibitor zones are set up to kind of make this rush distance a bit longer, even though it's a pretty short, squished together map. So, interested to see if we still see anything interesting out of this, because we definitely haven't seen anything too crazy out of this so far. As this probe coming back up is going to drop down the minerals into that mineral field and get back to mining. Stargate opening from Zest in game 1, so going to open with the Oracle. As that was a nice cancel. If you cancel a Creep Tumor, that is spreading forwards. You can't cancel a Creep Tumor that's just being placed by a Queen, but if the Creep Tumor exists from the previous Creep Tumor, you can cancel it and respread it instantly. So there's really not much of a negative to canceling it. And it's actually one of the things that's been discussed quite a lot, that we should cancel, that if you cancel a Creep Tumor, it should go on cooldown at least before you can respread it. The fact that you can respread instantly is kind of insane, but I mean, it's a very, it's a very small little feature that doesn't really affect a lot of things. What's up, Diesel, my man, coming in for the 14 months, saying marbles. Thank you so much for the marbles. We appreciate it. The Oracle shows up. One Queen, no Spore in the mineral line. And we will see soO taking a little bit of damage. Global Facility and that Twilight Council coming in here from Zest, so building those up as well. The Zerglings pressing forwards, going to be trying to break through in towards this natural expansion. The Adept taking a little bit more damage. The pylon will come down here as well, blocking off this area, then we'll cancel right away. And a few Zerglings still just hanging out on the top side. So as the Robe and the Twilight come in, we're heading towards that Archon drop, which we expect so frequently out of Zest. So no real surprises there, as we do see a couple of drones going down so far. A couple of workers picked off and so on. Some pretty crazy stuff at the moment. So we'll now start up the land the Rotron. Obviously, because it's a Stargate first, you don't have to prepare with the land the Rotron super quickly. Against this style of play, against this Archon drop, you can go a little bit more slowly into it, and that is what we're beginning to see here. A couple of Oracles coming over the Adepts. going down to those couple of Zerglings that grab the surround. So good little pick off here by soO. As he backs away now with those Zerglings, keeping them alive, just getting a little bit of damage wherever possible. Roach Roar about to complete, so soO is going to have that option to get some roaches up defensively, just as the Warp Prism starts to fly across the map. So again, everything timed out pretty nicely from both players to kind of match up. Neither player should really be taking, again, too much damage here over the other. The first 4 High Templar starting to warp in. So 3 High Templar coming into play with a couple of Archons setting up. And we do just see still these Oracles flying around, joining up with that Warp Prism, which is ready to lift the Archons. Obviously just protecting the High Templar against Zerglings, which might try and pick them off right away. There's quite a few Zerglings, that's already a guaranteed pylon kill on the right side here. Starts up another pylon. Just doesn't have many units here. The Oracles are out of position as well. Meanwhile, the Archons coming into the main base, starting to get a little bit of damage done. Just the first roach going down. Not too successful though, and in general it feels like soO's getting quite a lot done. The Lings have forced the Oracles back home, they picked off a pylon, plus the Archons getting a roach, or only getting a roach. Feels like soO's having a pretty good time, and continue to build roaches here as roach speed will be finishing shortly. We'll see if he wants to turn this into some aggression. Again, we've just been seeing so many of these aggressive pushes out of the Zerg players lately. Lots and lots and lots of attacks which build up in towards, pressing towards the opponent's faces and all that kind of stuff, as we see this Warp Prism lifting up those 2 Archons, pulling them away to the right-hand side. Other Queen's coming in here and chasing that Prism down. The Prism down to half hit points already. This Observer also taking quite a few hits. Again, the 2 Oracles from Zest all the way around to the left-hand side, ready to dive in towards the main base here. So those are getting ready to go. Again, just the roaches setting up on the creep spread. Already one of their own picked off instantly by those couple of Oracles, and another one. Good for kills here so far, so good little bit of damage done. 3 workers now killed. soO continuing to head across to the upper right-hand side. The Oracles pulling back away up the left-hand side. A bit more creep spread, pushing out in some different directions also, as we see Ravagers morphing. soO, again, he's completely committed to this attack. He has to hit before Storm, though. We've seen multiple times today attacks coming in just after Storm finishes, and it was one of the things that happened in Zest versus Solar. And Zest completely stomped the army because Storm is so good in those situations. Attacking before Storm means it's money that's invested into an upgrade that will not be in play. Here we go, big attack on the right-hand side. The Oracle's able to target down the Ravagers. Nice and quick, the Ravagers have a little bit less health than roaches, so they're nice to get rid of, and our higher priority targets worth a little bit more to build them. So that's good stuff so far. The Ravagers going down. So far, good stuff from Zest. We lost 20 probes in the last few moments. Obviously, those Lings going into the main at the same time were a bit of a detriment to being able to then hold on to this as well. A bit of a distraction obviously doesn't help. It means he has even less economy to hold on with as this game continues. Continue to cut backwards with the Immortals and Archons. Good save there. Super low HP Immortal being brought right to the back. The Archon's super low as well. It will fall. That one's not saved. Now the Immortal goes down as well. It just feels like there's enough road gravity to keep pressing forwards. There was a Bars force in the lead position. So Rogue is just running across the map here, reinforcing. It looks as though soO is just going to be deadly enough here in this game number 1 to take this down. And take the first game of this series. GG is called, and Zest will be tapping out soO. Takes the lead here in the first game. It's a really large map to finish the series on. Let's do this. To the top left side, down a map, yet was looking so deadly in the PvZ earlier today. Let's see what he can do as we have our pink Protoss, Zest. And to the bottom right-hand side, we have got the red Zerg player, soO. Okay, so game 2 of this best of 7, as we do see the Overlord heading across towards the upper left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, a pylon at the front going to be seeing a gateway coming down to set up a little bit here. And obviously, try to on a little bit of a larger map. I like this one. I do feel like we've seen some good games, but it is a bit of a larger one, and that means more likely to see some longer games on this, less likely to see some of those aggressive attacks as well. Pro continues to head down to the bottom as this Overlord from soO heading across to the top. I'm just going to see a drone or so coming down, extractor being placed as well here. And yeah, I mean, hatchery set up, probe coming over. And overall, the game pretty much regular. Again, like I was saying in the last series a little bit too, when you cast so many ZvPs in a row, and this is what, our 6 plus 5 plus 3, can do math on stream, that's 14, and then one in the last game, 15. So this is our 16th PvZ map in a row. The early game, the first few minutes can get a little bit repetitive, and you know, there's only so much you can say about the same Stargate opening. Hopefully those Zest maybe changes it up a little bit and goes for that Twilight Robo early. We haven't seen a single Resonating Glaives opening so far today, so watching out for that perhaps. I feel like if Zest... I don't know if Zest is really much of a Resonating Glaives player though. Though in a longer series it is nice to be able to kind of throw that build into action, right? So it'd be pretty cool to see as we see the Cybernetic score. Going to be finishing up, and the Adept Chrono boosting out to begin with. Again, shock, horror, no surprise really. Because the Probe is obviously scouting here at the moment, and we typically see that Probe replaced by the Adept to pick up the early game information. So the two Queens are going to be popping out, and there is the Twilight Council first, so it is going to be that bit of a switch up, probably towards the Dark Templar drop. And we're seeing DT drops have been, again, a mixture of success for Zest today. He did pretty okay with them on against Solar earlier. So just getting this Twilight Council set up to roll. And we're just going to be seeing the Probes continue to be Chrono boosted out still. So Probe's still on the way out at the moment. Robo Facility Cushion come down any second now to accompany this Twilight. Unless he does just go Glaives, then he would skip the Robo. Stalker comes in to fight against the Overlord. Well, no Robo Facility still. Could be Robo and Dark Shrine at the same time. And there it is, Robo coming in. It's a little bit of a late Robo there. Could have been a little sooner. Definitely have the money for it. As the Overlord will go down. Maybe just didn't want the Overlord to see this. Zest will start up a charge very quickly, actually. So maybe Zest's going to turn this into an all-in. By going charge, maybe get enough gas up here for like an Immortal, and then go like an Immortal, War Prism, bunch of charge drops with a couple sentries. I mean, obviously no gases on the natural yet. If he's going to macro, he will take these in the next 20 seconds or so. So eyes on these gases, because they'll tell us a lot about what the next stage of this game is going to be. Although with the Forge coming down, I think we get the general idea that this probably is going to be gases taken, setting up into upgrades and a longer game in general. So the weird part of this here then, just the fact that it is charge rather than a Templar Archives or a Dark Shrine. And the Templar Archives with the Dark Shrine, and will allow us to set up a little bit in towards, into Archon drops. Instead, it's just going to be some charge pressure, so definitely a little bit different from Zest, something we haven't seen from him or anyone else so far today, actually. So we've seen a few more Zealots warping in, and the lair obviously coming up in the main base. And soO just got that Rotor on early to make sure he was going to be safe. And that's the thing with soO. I feel like he never really gets caught completely off guard by these aggressive attacks. I feel he's always very well prepared. He always kind of has a good idea as to what's going on. And stuff like that as these Zerglings heading down to the bottom side. Person coming into the center, some extra Zards go to warp in, and the Zerglings will get turned away from those Zards pretty quickly. Zards coming in, swiping away, dealing some good damage. Those Zerglings taking a few shots. Still just hanging out in the center of the map. 11 Roaches on the way up. The Spine Crawler getting built up as well. Overlord also about to pop, and Zell's going to go charging in. This thing's taking quite a lot of damage, and we do see the Queen coming over the left-hand side. Gets picked off pretty quick too. There is a lot of Roaches though, and I don't think these Zelds really have a lot of potency beyond that first Queen kill. If the Roaches coming over, they're just not going to trade well enough. Now, you want in a few extra Stalkers. This is getting more interesting. Stalkers can chase down this Overlord, but I feel as though this is the sort of stage where the Zealots need to keep running away, because those Roaches are going to be like, well, you want to fight, let's go. Obviously, the Zealots do not want to fight. Let's have a few Stalkers and a single Zealot, and we'll use these to harass and buy some time. Mortal production has been Chrono boosted for the last little while, as we see the Nexus on the third base. Temple Archives finally on the way as well, just a little bit later than we really expected it with the way that Zest opened, so that was a little bit funky as the Lings run around up here. Now Nexus already getting surrounded, getting cuddled by those few Zerglings. There is units nearby though, so we should be able to clean this up as the Stalkers get themselves a couple of drone kills across the map. Force Field is helping to protect the Nexus, which is very low at this stage obviously, and obviously the last thing you want to do is have to cancel that as it's halfway done and rebuild it. So good defense by Zest, able to keep that going. And I see 4 extra gateways being added into play. So 4 extra gates coming up, Lings hanging out on the bottom right hand side, Warp Prism through the middle of the map as well. Now that Zergling on the watch out. Look how fast soO is though. As soon as he sees it, boom, he's out of there. And even keeps the Ling alive. Going to watch on this base now to see if that gets taken by Zest at any point of this. He's just keeping his eyes out on what Zest might be trying to get up to. Zergling's continuing to run around in the top right-hand corner. Just going to see a shield battery added into this mineral line here as well. Extra high Templar coming up. And well, soO is once again kind of cutting his units or cutting his drones at 48 workers. And he's kind of like, okay, well, I'm kind of happy to get going now. Is the game sound still too loud, guys? That's kind of funky. I wonder if it's my microphone just messing up a little bit. I don't really want to mess around with volumes in game because usually it's fine. I think it's just my microphone being a bit dodgy. Give me a sec. Hello, hello. Maybe that's a little bit better. I can appreciate it. I'm working on getting a new headset. I'm just trying to make sure I make the right decision on which one I get. I think this headset's just a little bit dodgy and it does alter in sound and wire placement sometimes, which obviously sucks. Anyways, we're back just in time for this big fight coming in. And we do see a few force fields coming down. Force fields dropping, and there's army ready to keep pressing forwards. So they're going some soO coming over, ready to run in towards this third base. Here you go, a couple more crossbow piles dropping down, splits up a little bit, and well, charging into this, the Roaches and Ravagers. Going to be so high up in numbers. The fact Zest is attacking into a 48 drone attack from soO is a little bit bonkers to me, and yet here he is. And he's actually making it look kind of successful. However, 2 Archons go down now, the Prism falls as well, and now soO will overwhelm this army. And I mean, you just got to ask, why on earth is Zest being the aggressor when soO is the one who is completely committed to an all-in? He has no upgrades, he has no transition, and now soO loses these Immortals because obviously he's not reinforcing this any longer. Some of the bars actually connecting as well. So 1 Immortal, 2 Stalkers, and 2 Zealots survive. And obviously the reinforcing Roaches should be able to do pretty well. Although that said, in fairness, another Ravager going down. The army supply isn't super high from soO, so maybe Zest has done enough where he can actually just continue to fight this. Or at least survive if a counterattack came in. Starts charging forwards here. Once again, fighting in the center of the map. New War Prison is only just now building, so that's coming in at the moment, but well, it's still a bit of a questionable decision for Zest to have been the aggressor there, I feel. This is just going to be seeing the Ling is getting picked away out. We do see the Overseers from soO moving over into the natural expansion. Roaches and Ravager gathering up. I mean, soO is still only on 47 workers, so he's still just going to try to make the same exact style work for himself here. It turns out Zest did enough. Obviously now he's been able to rebuild some Archons, gets the Immortals up into a Prism to harass a bit. It was just a bit, again, I just still questioned it a bit, but soO obviously missed his timing, didn't really manage to hit when he needed to, and well, now now Zest is looking very good to tie this series up 1-1 in this best of 7. Zealots and Archons pressing down to the bottom side, going to charge on in to work their way through this hatchery. Prism into the main base will warp in some Zealots, with the Immortals dropping down will do a pretty good job as this third base goes down. I mean, there's just no way. I really kind of thought soO had cleaned up enough, but then as the extra couple of Ravagers went down, as he started to move across the map, it just obviously wasn't going to be the case, and eventually there you just can't move across the map. soO will type out GG. Zest ties this one up 1-1 in the best of 7. Let's see just what happens. Top left-hand side, our pink Protoss player, give it up if you're cheering on Zest. As he takes on the blue Zerg in the bottom right-hand side, soO. So, game number 3 of this best of 7. Getting this set up and ready to get going in all of this, as we see the hatch, the gas, and the pool getting going from soO. So yeah, getting this started up and ready to roll. As a probe comes in, nibbles away at a couple of these mineral patches, and just starts to deal a little bit of annoyance here. I mean, this little dance is very annoying because as any player, you want to try and stack your drones up 2 on each patch and keep them on the closer mineral patches as well. It just increases the income a little bit, but the probe is basically forcing the drones to keep microing back on, otherwise they'd run all over the place. So it's a fun little bit of early game micro that we've seen more and more of in Legacy of the Void, actually. It used to be very popular in Queens of Liberty, part of the Swarm. Since 12 Workers Start came around, though, it just seemed a little bit less effective, and it obviously is because you build up a lot faster, the extra little bits of income are less noticeable, but you can see here, like, this drone was on its way over there, which loses a lot of mining time compared to just mining, going home, mining, going home. So it's those little things that these players will do to just try and get ahead in the game. When you're the very best in the world, you may as well do it, because there's nothing else going on at this stage of the game that stops you from doing that, right? There's nothing else which takes up your control and takes up your focus to stop that from happening. And so you can just slow builds down by a couple of seconds here and then. You never know when those couple of seconds might be the difference between you getting that final unit out that you need to hold, or for Storm to finish, and so on. Everything you can do for an extra moment or so in the game is so effective. How is this less effective with 12 workers when the trick literally doesn't work with 6 workers? I mean, with 12 worker starts rather than a 6 worker start. Because a 6 worker starts, the early game lasts longer, right? So what you would do with a 6 worker start is you would use the probe to stop the drones from jumping onto the same mineral patch and to go to the further mineral patches as well. So it's a little bit more effective. The early game just lasted longer back then, and so you had more of a chance to do it. It was more important that your early workers were on those early mineral patches, because the time in which you were on those low worker counts was extended. It's more effective because there's more to disrupt? No, because you have more workers, so it's less noticeable. Because imagine you have 6 workers here, right? If you have 6 workers right here, if you have 1 worker on here, 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 and here, and then a second one on each, even if you come in here and you force this drone to go here, that's still the same damage you're doing now, right? The drone will have to micro back onto this position, right? But you have less workers as the Zerg player, and because you have less as the Zerg, it's then more effective because you're wasting more time with less income. So, obviously you only do it as well because the probe is scout and you want to scout. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's more effective. It used to be more effective, or it used to have more of an impact. Anyways, all good. It's not that big of a deal, is it? And as you do see, the Dark Shrine finished, and we are setting up already into the 4 DTs, warping in. I mean, soO does have a Spore Crawler done on the bottom left-hand space, so these DTs, as they press forwards, will arrive in. Already Zerglin's running through and getting a little bit of damage done. A couple of Queens pushing this Prism back over to the left-hand side. DT's dropping back down, morphing into Archons here. So straight into the Archon play. Oh, those two actually went and cuddled each other. Nah, he keeps them as DTs, that's why. He keeps them as DTs, that's kind of smart, because he knows the Lings could run in and get us around and maybe kill an Archon. By keeping 2 as DTs, he then has units he can continue to fight with to protect the first Archon, and then obviously the first Archon protects the second Archon as it morphs in. Job well done is going to be seeing those Queens continue to push those Archons away. So a little bit of micro backwards by those Archons as well, as the Zerglin's dropping down pretty quickly. A lot of Lings dropping down. Oh, but the Archon super low does lift up in time and is able to keep it going. Ling's going to go and counter-attack. Third base is taken over here by Zest, so it's the weirder third base. Like, it's really out in the front rather than just expanding off to the side. He keeps loving taking these forward third bases. Very interesting. And you can see the Lings go straight into the natural expansion, though. Zest is immediately going to be taking a lot of damage, so Zest taking quite a few hits right now. Archons have come back home. It's mostly just a probe mining time loss. He will lose a pylon as well. Most of the Zerglings signed off now, though, so this is going to be cleaned out. This is going to be saved. As an Archon there, going to fight its way over against this Overseer. So Overseer goes down as well. These other few units going to be picking off those Zerglings, and it's a cleanup by Zest. But again, took a little while. Now he's out of position on the third base, as we're going to be seeing these Lings getting a good surround. So third next is taking some damage. A couple of pylons in trouble too. DTs have walked in to help out. Archon's obviously very good with their splash damage, and he will hold on to it. It's another pylon lost, and again, a little bit frustrating. As we do see Hydra's on the way up, Overlord's being built, there is no more drones, and this is again another 46-ish worker all in. This is crazy. Okay, so let's end up into this once more right now. As you can see, a couple of Archons coming over. Thank you very much, very quickly, to a couple of resubs coming in, both on 3 months. Lumberjack, man, thank you so much for the 3 months. And Cobra Kush with the 3 months as well, so sup, dude. And see the Lings let in again. Zest making some real mistakes this time. We're going to be seeing the couple of probes already dropping. So added on a couple of extra drones, so he is adding a few of those, but it's still mostly Lings and Hydras in production. Spine's going to finish here initially, then probably move into most of the augments, and that looks like he will still add on a few extra drones as he goes along with this, as the Zerglings still picking up some decent damage here. That probe getting to the assimilator is the only reason it stays alive, as Lings are back in again. Oh my god. These Lings are so frustrating, man. I mean, how many times has Zest left his door open? He's just asking for these Lings to come in here at this point. Again, another probe that's saved by the assimilator, although only for a few moments. Does get the kill this time, soO, so good control to pull that back and then to target down that probe rather than just letting his Ling jump on any random probe, which wouldn't have actually gotten much done. So extra Archons morphing in. We're going to be seeing the Zealots warping in here too. Ready to press forwards. The Hydras and the Lings ready to deal with this. More Zerglings up at the top from soO. Pressing across once again. And here we go. This army of Zest start to press forward. So he's again attacking the fairly low drone count soO here. I don't think this is necessarily great, but I guess it did work out the last time around. And here we go. Some forces dropping down. Hydras dealing damage where they can. Extra Zealots going to be warping in. You can see the drones being pulled into this as well. And it looks as though Zest is going to have plenty to push on through to clean this up. That's GG, and Zest will take the lead in the series for the very first time. Zest goes up 2-1 in the best. Alright. Why would we see anything else other than ZvP? We might have snuck a ZvZ in here. It depends who wins this series, of course, as we have to the top left-hand side our red Zerg. This is soO. Up against the pink Protoss in the bottom right, Zest. A couple of people using the replay pack command. Just mention this quickly, that if you want replays from this tournament, they are available to subscribers. They'll be going out in the next day or so. So that's subscribers going to be able to get some replays. And this every game from this tournament will be in that replay pack. So do check that out. Should be definitely worth getting your hands on. We put out replays every week or two, depending on just how much we've been casting. So we're always giving you guys fresh replays to learn from, study, and all of that good stuff. Here on Ephemeron, one of the main features of the map is going to be those bridges out in the center. And we've seen this map in general has started to take a bit of a longer turn in terms of length of games because of the fact that when you get up to 4 or 5 bases, it gets very difficult to attack into those bases with these bridges. But then also it becomes difficult to hold these bases because you have to push across the bridges to get in position to hold them anyways and to then go anywhere else. So this map's created some interesting kind of I'm not going to say stalemates, but it's definitely slowed the game down in the later stages if you get there. And as we do see the Overlord coming down to the lower right side of the map. Probe here from Zest back into the main base, going to pop down another assimilator. So another assimilator coming into position. Cybernex core just about halfway done. And the Nexus also going to be just about halfway done at the moment. Fed hatchery already starting up, so soO. Getting this going. What the heck is that Robo Overlord? This is from the current War Chest skins. If you like the look of this, you can exclamation mark War Chest in the chat. I'll give you a link to purchase the War Chest through my affiliate links. I get a percentage of the sale. But yeah, War Chest, you unlock skins and you can attach them to your units. So check it out. The most important thing about the purchase of the War Chest is it goes directly towards supporting StarCraft 2 esports. And especially in a time like right now where the world feels a bit dismal and down and Blizzard are laying off committee members and stuff, I think buying the War Chest is one of the best things you can do to support StarCraft 2 because it's the sort of thing that will keep Blizzard producing WCS and so on in the future. And that's obviously very, very important. Adept coming up to the top side there. We are just going to be seeing a few Zerglings. Just nibbling their way through the rocks on that low ground. Twilight first once again from Zest. Is still not back in towards that Stargate opening. So going to see the Robo facility on the way up that gateway. Going to be able to morph into a warp gate in the next 30 seconds, 40 seconds. There's a sentry building out quite quickly from Zest. Interesting. That'll mean that you can't build anything off of the Twilight Council for a little while because the sentry takes up a lot of gas. So slows that down just a little bit. As we do see the lair coming up from soO in the main base. Yeah, just set up onto his free hatches for the moment. And we'll see where the game goes from here. X-Force with a sub gift out to Disconic. Welcome to the Wardy family. Appreciate the sub gift. Welcome, guys. Lair, Rotron, very typical setup once again against this Archon drop style that Zest loves to go into. And, well, it's going to be, again, just the charge though. So actually not going to go into the Archon drop, although the Lair and the Rotron is still a good setup for this, right? I mean, it still gives you the Overseer, it gives you the Roach speed, it gives you the Roaches. That combination can be quite nice. We'll see Zest run down this Forge and heading across the map to get a few Zealots going. So, last time we saw this was actually a pretty successful attack, although this time he loads up the 2 Stalkers and the Sentry back at home. Warps in 1 more Stalker before heading across, so wants a full Warp Prism. And he has 2 Gateways, so he doesn't have a lot of warping potential for Zealots. Just wants to apply a little bit of pressure. Prism heading in towards the upper left. Some creep is pushing forwards out onto the map. A little bit of creep connecting the bases between the natural and the third base together as well. Roach speed getting started in the back of the natural. The Prism, I mean, flies right into a couple of queens, right? So already taking damage to its shields. Obviously doesn't want to commit too far in with that. Hydra's Den starting up pretty quickly from soO. So heading in towards a Roach Hydra style here for this game number 4. And with 8 more draws, he's actually going to go beyond the 50 worker mark. So, the first time today, we're actually going to be seen as a player going beyond those, well, not first time today, but first time in the series, I think you're going to see soO going beyond the kind of the 50-ish drones and really kind of macroing up a little bit more. A few Hydras on the way out, a few Roaches as well. The Warp Prism down the left-hand side. And now coming back towards the center. Snake Phoenix heading up to the top side of the map. A single Zergling hanging out on the far right. Zealots, Sentries, the Immortal, all gathering up as Zest. It's just outside the front of the natural. So Immortal as Zest comes down to the low ground. And yeah. So far some good stuff as we see these Groove Spines just about halfway done here as well. So continue setting up into that as again the Roaches and the Hydras just ping-ponging between bases. Link speed will start. Have I cursed this by saying we're going to see a bit of a longer game? Because I think now he's just going to be done on 53 drones. The link speed starting in such a way that I kind of feel like after Groove of Spines we see Muscular Augments, he gets that Hydra speed, and I just feel like we're going to be seeing, because why would you get link speed now unless you want to flood lings as reinforcements? We're going to see another big attack from soO. Well, let's hope that Zest doesn't either attack into it this time. He's attacked into the last 2. Because these games are starting to have very similar outcomes with the way that they get played out and the way that they end up. Man, that's actually crazy. I really thought going past the 50 worker mark, I was like, yes, this is it. But no, he's just like, yeah, 53, 55 drones. That's how many I want for this attack. That's crazy. Storm being chrono boosted out on the Templar Archives. A couple of Stalkers harassing away, and the Overseer will fall. So Overseer going down. Good pick off right there. And Muscle Win still just coming up about halfway done. Storm being chrono boosted, +2 attack. About to finish up on the Forge as well. And third Nexus also coming up on the side. So I just feel like what Zest is doing, he's going into Storm a lot faster than a lot of people would. But I think it's just because he knows how soO is liking to play at the moment. And as soO just continues to play these aggressive styles, the Storm is just going to be absolutely bang on, spot on what he needs to shut this down. We talked about it before. He had that Storm against the time Solo attacked into him on the that time on the bandwidth. So I think there's a few things do sneak into the main. That's frustrating, but I mean, look at these Immortals. They're just going to get rid of a bunch of Roaches at the start of this. Storm would be huge on top of those units as they just sort of sit there clumped up. I mean, soO will see the High Templar, so you should know that Storm is available here. Otherwise, why would you keep those as High Templar rather than making the Archons? I mean, the Storms, even if they don't connect brilliantly, they force the units to back away. That puts them into bad positions for the force fields. I mean, the Storms still do also do a good amount of damage overall. Extra Immortal still fighting away here. Now the Archons warping in as well. Some Zealots warp in, but they have to warp in behind the wall off. Some Roaches here are harassing quite nicely. Zest will turn this back. The +2 attack, obviously a big part of this as well. These attacks of soO are just not working. They're not doing anything to make this work out. And this is another big hold from soO where he's going to, from Zest, where he's going to end up with +2 attack against 0-0. He's going to have a ton of units ready to go, and his counter-attack potential is off the charts in terms of how successful it's likely to be. Because soO's just got such a low-tech, low-tier army that he can't really, he just hasn't been building on it or anything. These units continue to head down to the bottom, as we are going to be having the push through. I mean, this Nexus is going to take a few hits, perhaps. A couple of throws of Val's dropping down. The Zealots continue to back away to the right. Immortals fighting here as well. Here, Roach is getting picked off pretty quickly. Roach and Rabbit are still pressing forward, and we see the Immortals continue to back away. A couple of throws of Val's. Immortal takes another shot of damage. Finally, Itachi manages to turn around and snipe one of those down. And the Zarkons and Immortals just keep pressing through to clean this up. I mean, soO will just not be able to do anything in this series. I mean, soO needs to do something different. This is not working out for him at all. These attacks, I mean, Zest seems to have a perfect way to deal with them. GG. Zest goes up to match as we go in game. Bottom right hand side on Acropolis, our pink Protoss player is Zest. Up against our blue Zerg in the top left from Chivo Esports, soO. As we get this set up and ready to go. Looking to see what's going to happen as you see this Overlord pressing forward. Zest looks like a completely different player to how he was playing yesterday. I mean, he played sloppy in the group stages as well against Zerg, but today he's just absolutely on point. I guess it's kind of typical Zest, isn't it? You kind of just don't know which Zest is going to show up. Is it going to be that Zest that'll just murder everybody and make it, make everyone else look bad while doing so? Or is it going to be that Zest who's just a little bit making those couple mistakes here and there, and they actually kind of tend to big mistakes and games fall apart very quickly? It's always tough to say, but today he is looking like he wants to win this tournament. He's not messing around. Again, winner of this plays Rogue in the grand finals. That starts up straight after this series. It'll be a best of 9, so you have loads more StarCraft coming your way still. Even if this series ends right here, that best of 9 finals afterwards should be absolutely brilliant. So look forward to that as we do see the Stargate opening. So Zest back to a Stargate. Zest definitely hasn't been a player to kind of go double Stargate Phoenix like we saw Hero trying out against Rogue before. I do feel like in these longer series though, it's good to be able to throw those builds in now and again rather than just being the same thing again and again. Although, that said, maybe we should be talking about that in terms of soO right now, because soO is going for the same style of attack every time so far and hasn't really been that successful with it. So, still haven't quite seen that coming into play or anything, as we do see the Adept from Zest shading into the top left-hand side. Queen from soO going to be wandering on forwards, as just going to be seeing the Adept again shading by and heading past through the natural up in towards the main base. Adept will cancel, and we do see the link speed just about halfway done at the moment. As that's going to ask for a quick pause here. First pause of the day, if I'm not mistaken, so a couple moments while Zest sorts out whatever this may be. And as soon as he's done that, we'll be right back on into this. Just a quick moment then, just as the pause is here. Thank you so much for tuning in again today, guys. Don't forget, if you're a Twitch Prime user, that Twitch Prime sub, you might have it available. Click the sub button in the top right of your screen, and there it says subscribe for free with Twitch Prime. It goes a long way to helping out the stream, the content, and being able to do a little bit more of this in the future. So check that out if you're a Twitch Prime user, as we're back into the action here for game number 5, soO versus Zest. Depth shading over. We'll arrive over here in this wall off, and just going to be seeing the Stargate dropping down. Second one. So he is going to play double Stargate Phoenix, and like I was saying, I kind of like the idea of switching it up a little bit and really just changing up the way that this is going compared to this, it being the same style again and again and again. Overlord turns back towards the bases here. Stalker doesn't know where to go for the best to try and kill it, and Overlord might be able to sneak its way out and kind of out safely to the left, perhaps. I guess the Stalker would have been able to get it then, though. So, Overlord goes down in the end. Survived a little while longer. Obviously, soO is not going to get supply blocked by that or anything. So, Xavier, thanks so much for the 20 bits. Says thanks for the Sunday morning StarCraft. No worries at all. Glad you're enjoying. And thanks so much for the bits as the Phoenix production will get started. So, Zest with a very different start to what we've seen so far, and soO as well. This time, no tech structures down before the 4-minute marker. Lair just starting now, 50 drones in play. He will build a few more drones here. He will not go for the same free base attack that he's been trying to go for throughout this series so far. So we're going to change this up a little bit now as the Lair, the Rotron getting set up to go. Oracle flies over and this is going to be sitting above the couple of units here as the third base will be established. The Oracle into the double Stargate Phoenix I always like because I do feel you need that Oracle just to help give some protection to the third base. Obviously soO hasn't seen what this is just yet, though we'll see the third right there, and for a moment looks as though he might have dived the probe, but doesn't get it just yet. And we do have the Phoenix still just hanging out, a couple more joining in here and there. There's an Overlord heading into the main base of Scouts, so now he'll show the Phoenix anyways because, hey, they were going to be scouted in a moment no matter what. So he actually hits a supply block from that. But starts up a few roaches. I mean, typically you start a few roaches here to force the Phoenix back home. You run them across the map, but Phoenix have to turn around and deal with them, use that energy there rather than harassing. And then be another Overlord kill though if Zest wants it. He will see it, he'll turn around and get it. That's actually a huge supply block as soO opts for the Nidus network. So soO going to try and Nidus his way through to victory this time. We have seen Zest fall victim to a Nidus against True, fall victim to a Nidus against Fly multiple times in this tournament. Will it happen again right here? Well, perhaps. Definitely a possibility as a couple of robo facilities on the way up right now from Zest. And those extra gateways coming down at the moment too as the Phoenix fly through into the main base. They're going to come straight over. A couple of drones already getting picked away at. A few drones going down. Zergan's able to pick up this probe at the front too. There's the Nidus sperm on the way. Phoenix coming across the far right-hand side. I mean, realizing the Nidus is here, probably needs as much as he can get at home to defend this. He's got some sentries and some force fields. There's no Ravagers to break through those force fields, so well, they definitely have potential. Zest doesn't want to fight yet, though. He doesn't really have any damage in his army. There's the couple of Immortals coming out. Aims into the natural mineral line, though, and that's something that you're going to have to go and deal with. There's the force fields. Phoenix will lift up these queens to have some good extra damage. That's the way as well. The force fields keeping the queens at bay is very important. You're going to be seeing again those probes under fire. That's just come up with a lot of strong defenses today. Will this be another of them? Doesn't seem like it so far, although he has got a couple of shield barriers to heal up. Bro's pulling into this. He still has some Phoenix left to lift units up with, but those two Immortals still alive, kind of fighting and being a big part of it. We get another queen lifted up into the skies, but it really is just these two Immortals. Now a third one as well, though. There's another hold from Zest. It's getting close. Those Immortals are super low, though. An extra roach is now running into play. Suddenly all the Immortals are going down. The Zealots warp in to fight against it. The Phoenix are out of energy. It's GG. soO will fight back with the Nidus network. Get through this one. We have Myungnyung Seje as our final map of the series, which is a larger map, although Rogue got pretty aggressive on that one earlier as well. Let's do this. It's to the top right-hand side. Our red Zerg. This is soO. And at the bottom left, our pink Protoss. We've got Zest. My gosh. Some really fun series here so far. I feel like I've said that a lot, but it has been so true today. But yes, at the start of this one, I'll just say again, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, do consider hitting that follow button to follow the stream so you can go live again in the future if you haven't followed us already. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, I do this pretty much every day, casting top-notch StarCraft for you all. Consistently putting out tournaments and broadcasts and coverage of matches and stuff like that. So always try and do as much of that as possible as we do see this probe heading up to the top side. Tomorrow I actually forgot, but I'm actually going to be casting Crank's QCL tournament. So that's going to be coming up tomorrow. Should be pretty fun. As we got the spawning pool dropping down here from soO in the main base. Nexus drops in from Zest at the moment, so getting that started up. I'm just going to be seeing the cyber core coming into play as well. Again, hatcheries getting built up. Spawner pool about to be done. And this game going to be rolling on in just a few moments, so seeing where this game is headed. Can't believe it cost 4.5 hours of PvZ at this point. It's been a bit crazy that we just had PvZ all the way through. And if Zest wins this series, we have a PvZ finals as well. So much PvZ. If only one Terran had made the final day of competition. That's all I'm asking. I wouldn't have even managed some ZvZ. Fire Council drops down here from Zest. So gets that started on up. And we are just going to be seeing the Adept shading forwards. Going to be obviously just getting into position, deal a little bit of damage. Zest back to that Twilight Council opening. So kind of saying, well, you know what? I feel like you're still playing the same styles, the same attacks, and still being hyper aggressive. So if you're going to be playing like that, so I don't have much choice other than to come in and, well, you know, bring out the Twilight first again. Not bothering with the Stargate. I feel fine taking the third base without it. Can obviously set up into a good little spot overall. Rubber facility about halfway done. Extra seconds on the way out, and there's Dark Shrine actually dropping down here from Zest. So we'll get that Dark Shrine started on up. Just next to that Twilight Council. Back to the DT opener. Obviously, soO needs to make sure he has the Spore Crawlers in position by the time the DTs get across the map. Doesn't need them yet, but it's something to keep in mind here, as he does have a few Lings running forwards. All off is pretty secure though. Nothing too crazy over here. Probably another pylon to finish rolling this off in a moment or so. Death will fall, and Stalker will then follow up behind it. The Shade just a little bit too late to actually save that Adept, unfortunately. And Stalker gonna hold on for a little while. Some probes pull out to the other side to be able to help against those Lings. We'll lose one probe. The other probe going down too as he tries to pull it back. He kills all the Lings, but obviously a little bit of a slowdown there as the Dark Shrine about to be done. Tell you what, soO does not have a Spore Crawl on the third base. Oh dear. He actually has no detection. soO's going to lose the third base, at least. And that is going to follow up with a very tough spot in this game. Spore Crawler starts to build right now. Is not going to be savable, though. And as soO walks, as Zest walks in, you should go towards that Spore. Stop that from coming up here. The Lings are going to try and surround it. The DT's wasting some time on the Queen. He's still going to get the Spore Crawler, though, right? Target the Spore Crawler. Yeah, it goes down. Well, there's obviously a lot of damage potential on the third base here. He should just be able to turn and get the third hatchery. What on earth is... Zest is just... I think Zest is afraid of an Overseer coming in, but the lair is still not finished. So he's given up his chance to get rid of the third base. He is just going to try and fight those Queens instead. One DT has walked up into the natural expansion, where there's also not a Spore Crawler. Having some success here, splitting this up a little bit. That's the DT's warping in, although an Overseer here now. Queens will trade out Transfuse. DT in the natural ends up up in the main base. Just running around against those Roaches. A few Lings at the front deal on damage, but not too much. Now the DT's going to have to lift up, back away. Still has that DT in the main as well to be a little bit annoying with later. I mean, Zest is still in a great spot. 8 workers. In the end, I don't think I mind him. I don't think I mind him too much not getting the third base, because he did deny a lot of mining. He did kill a good few drones. There's all DT in the main base. You want to get even more because units are just out of position. Spore is there for detection, but, well, 8 workers killed is just an additional bit of pain already. We're going to see this Roach or two going to get chased down by this Archon, and, well, that's going to be even more damage dealt here by Zest, who gets further and further and further ahead and is looking fantastic to maybe move through to the grand finals of the Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament. Our 4th one that we've held as WardiTV. A couple of Archons pressing forwards. Going to see the Queen taking a couple of shots, the Roach taking some damage as well. I mean, the thing is, though, the follow-up here from Zest is just going to be so deadly. He's already on 4 gates, he adds 4 more. He'll put a Nexus up behind us, although the Lings will cancel that initially. So Nexus goes down here. Those Lings are able to pick off that pylon too, so pylon also going down. Zerglings Back over to the left-hand side, Immortal and a few sentries set up in the front. And those extra gates finishing up and warping in now. Whenever Zest decides to push, it's going to be a very, very difficult endeavor for soO to try and hold it off. He's already seemingly cutting workers at 42 and just saying, right, I'm just building roaches from here on out. But then Zest has a third base to fall back to, and he's warping in more with DTs so he can get more Archons up. I don't know, man. I don't know if there's a way back into this right here for soO. Like, those DTs did way too much out on the third base. Way too much. Well, a couple Archons finishing. Zest will continue to press forwards. We all have roaches starting to come down the ramp again. There's ults and the Archons setting up over here. The few Immortals as well. Going to start picking their way through this set of rocks, so we'll start dealing a little bit of damage. Rocks taking some hits. This is it, the big attack in from Zest. Now again, soO has built up a lot of roaches, so soO might be able to trade here, but the thing is, if you trade, there's no realistic follow-up, right? Like, you just have no, your worker count is still low. You have to trade extremely well, overwhelm this army of Zest, and then, once you've overwhelmed this army, you have to come in and you actually have to just go across the map and more or less, I think, win the game. Here we go. The first Vortals are already looking very good for Zest here, who's losing barely anything in this initial startup of the fight. Well, charge comes back off cooldown. Extra force fields to lock the roaches in position. The Archons and Immortals will always be able to connect. And Zest's supply begins to skyrocket as the supply from soO will plummet. Can't take the fight here at all. GG's, and Zest will take this series 4-2